Most people believe intelligence is measured by how much you know, by your degrees, your job title, or how fast you can solve a problem. But true intelligence isn't about accumulation, it's about avoidance. It's about the choices you make in what you let into your mind, what you react to, and what you chase in life. Some mistakes are obvious, others are hidden, quietly draining your focus, your peace, and your potential. Today, we're going to explore 10 things that intelligent people intentionally avoid. Habits and behaviors that secretly sabotage most people, yet those who understand them move through life with clarity and calm. Intelligent people understand that letting emotions dictate actions is a trap. Anger, fear, jealousy, these are not weaknesses but natural responses that, when unbridled, cloud judgment and lead to regret. The Stoics taught that we cannot control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. Marcus Aurelius wrote about maintaining calm in the face of insult or misfortune, not because life is easy, but because serenity comes from within. Imagine reacting angrily to a rude comment online. The momentary release feels satisfying, but it erodes your focus, wastes your energy, and feeds unnecessary conflict. Those who cultivate emotional discipline step back, observe their feelings without surrendering to them, and choose action rooted in reason. Over time, this restraint becomes second nature. Decisions are made with clarity, not chaos. Life's challenges still arrive, but they no longer unsettle the mind. Emotional mastery isn't about suppression, it's about acknowledging feelings without letting them dictate your path. By avoiding impulsive emotional reactions, intelligent people preserve their energy, maintain perspective, and navigate life with steady, purposeful intent. The wisdom of restraint allows them to see opportunities where others see obstacles and to act decisively when the moment calls for reason over reaction. Intelligent people are careful with their words, understanding that speech is a reflection of the mind. Gossip, idle chatter, and criticism that serves no purpose are avoided because they scatter focus and erode integrity. Epictetus taught that we should speak only what is necessary and true, and that unnecessary words are like leaks in a container, slowly draining our energy and composure. When you engage in gossip, even harmlessly, you tie your mind to the actions and reputations of others, creating distraction and anxiety over things you cannot control. Conversely, when you choose silence or meaningful conversation, you preserve mental clarity and demonstrate self-respect. History offers countless examples. Leaders and philosophers who valued thoughtful speech were able to influence, teach, and lead with precision, while those who indulged in trivial talk often became embroiled in conflicts and distractions. Avoiding idle talk is not about judgment or isolation. It is about discipline and purpose. Each word spoken should serve understanding, connection, or constructive action. By filtering what enters your conversations, intelligent people free themselves from unnecessary drama, maintain focus on what truly matters, and cultivate a presence that commands respect without force. Over time, this habit builds credibility, sharpens thinking, and deepens relationships with those who value truth and clarity over noise. Intelligent people do not surrender their sense of self to the approval of others. They understand that seeking validation from the world is a fragile foundation for confidence. Epictetus reminds us that the opinions of others are outside our control. Basing our happiness on them is like building a house on sand. When you constantly adjust your actions to please people, you lose touch with your own principles and values. Historical figures who achieved greatness often did so because they followed their own reasoned path, not because they conformed to popular opinion. Consider Socrates, who faced ridicule and even death rather than compromise his understanding of truth. On a smaller scale, Everyday life is full of subtle pressures, likes on social media, compliments, criticisms that can sway your choices if you allow them. Intelligent people observe these pressures but do not let them dictate behavior. They cultivate internal validation, finding satisfaction in acting according to their own reasoned judgment and moral compass. This doesn't mean arrogance or ignoring advice. It means weighing opinions thoughtfully without letting them erode self-trust. Freedom from external approval opens space for genuine growth, creativity, and resilience. When your actions are rooted in your own understanding of what is right, rather than the fleeting approval of others, you gain steadiness, purpose, and an inner strength that cannot be shaken by the whims of the crowd. Intelligent people understand that overconsumption, whether of food, entertainment, or material possessions, dulls the mind and clouds judgment. Stoic philosophy teaches moderation, emphasizing that happiness does not come from excess, but from self-discipline and clarity. When we indulge impulsively, we trade long-term well-being for fleeting pleasure, and our attention drifts from what truly matters. Historical examples abound. Great thinkers and leaders often lived simply, valuing purpose and reflection over luxury. Consider Marcus Aurelius, whose writings reflect a life of measured needs, focused on reason and duty rather than indulgence. In modern life, overconsumption can take subtle forms: hours lost scrolling through social media, mindless snacking, or accumulating items to fill an emptiness that cannot be satisfied externally. Intelligent people recognize these traps and consciously limit them, creating space for thought, learning, and meaningful action. This simplicity fosters mental clarity, strengthens self-control, and deepens appreciation for what they already have. By avoiding the pull of excess, they retain energy for decisions that matter and cultivate contentment that is not dependent on external abundance. Over time, this restraint becomes a protective shield against distraction, anxiety, and the emptiness that comes from chasing more than is necessary, allowing them to live with purpose, focus, and calm. Intelligent people avoid unnecessary complaints because they understand that energy spent on whining or blaming others is energy wasted. Stoicism teaches that suffering is often unavoidable, but how we respond is entirely within our control. Complaints that do not lead to action serve only to reinforce a sense of helplessness and keep the mind trapped in negativity. Imagine spending hours lamenting a mistake or a frustrating situation, but doing nothing to change it. The moment passes, yet the frustration lingers, leaving a heavier burden than the problem itself. Instead, intelligent individuals observe the situation, accept what cannot be changed, and focus on what can be influenced. They ask themselves, "What can I do to improve this?" rather than, "Why is this happening to me?" Historical figures, from philosophers to leaders, often faced immense challenges, yet their influence came from action, not lamentation. By minimizing complaints, they preserved mental clarity, strengthened resilience, and maintained the calm needed to think critically. Complaining less does not mean ignoring injustice or hardship. It means channeling attention towards solutions rather than endlessly replaying the problem. Over time, this habit creates a mindset of empowerment, where challenges are met with reasoned response instead of emotional exhaustion, allowing intelligent people to act decisively, maintain inner peace, and navigate life with steady purpose. Intelligent people avoid impulsive decisions because they recognize that haste often leads to regret. Stoicism emphasizes careful consideration and reflection, teaching that a calm mind produces wiser choices. When faced with a difficult situation, the immediate instinct may be tempting, but acting on impulse often prioritizes short-term relief over long-term benefit. History provides many lessons. Leaders who made snap judgments without deliberation frequently faced consequences they could have foreseen, while those who paused, weighed options, and considered outcomes navigated challenges more successfully. Even in everyday life, impulsive decisions, buying something unnecessary, responding angrily, or quitting in frustration, can compound small mistakes into larger problems. Intelligent people cultivate patience, learning to pause, reflect, and observe the situation before taking action. They ask themselves, "Will this choice serve me in the long run?" rather than yielding to immediate desire or fear. This practice does not lead to paralysis. Rather, it sharpens discernment and strengthens self-control. By avoiding impulsivity, they reduce errors, conserve energy, and act from a place of reason rather than emotion. Over time, this habit fosters confidence and clarity, allowing them to navigate complex decisions with a steady hand and unwavering focus, turning challenges into opportunities instead of setbacks. Intelligent people avoid holding grudges because they understand that resentment harms the holder more than the target. Stoic philosophy teaches that past injuries are outside our control, but our responses to them are within our power. Clinging to anger or bitterness keeps the mind trapped in the past, clouding judgment and draining energy that could be used for growth or constructive action. Historical figures who achieved greatness often forgave or released resentment, not because they condoned wrongdoing, but because they valued their own peace of mind above lingering anger. Consider Marcus Aurelius, who reminded himself that people act according to their nature, and that it is neither wise nor productive to let their faults disturb one's own serenity. In daily life, letting go of grudges allows intelligent people to engage with the present without the weight of past wrongs, fostering healthier relationships and clearer thinking. Forgiveness, in this sense, is not weakness, it is strength. By avoiding the trap of resentment, they reclaim mental space, maintain emotional balance, and preserve energy for decisions and actions that truly matter. Over time, this practice cultivates resilience, clarity, and a calm mind, capable of facing life's challenges with reason rather than revenge. Intelligent people avoid overthinking what is beyond their control because they understand that wasted mental energy achieves nothing. Stoic philosophy emphasizes focusing only on what we can influence and letting go of what we cannot. Anxiety, regret, and obsessive planning often stem from trying to control outcomes that are ultimately unpredictable. Weather, other people's choices, or the passage of time. Consider how much energy is spent worrying about what others think or fearing events that may never happen. That energy could be applied to preparation, learning, or meaningful action instead. By distinguishing between what is within their power and what is not, intelligent individuals redirect attention to productive areas, cultivating a mindset of agency and clarity. Historical examples show that leaders and philosophers who mastered this principle remained steady amid chaos, making sound decisions while others panicked. Modern life presents similar challenges. Deadlines, social pressures, and global events can stir unease. But focusing on controllable actions, our responses, effort, and attitude, turns potential paralysis into purposeful movement. Avoiding obsessive rumination frees the mind, strengthens focus, and fosters resilience, allowing intelligent people to act decisively and maintain inner peace, even when the world is uncertain. This clarity becomes a foundation for wisdom, where energy is invested in growth rather than futile worry. Intelligent people avoid distraction and multitasking because they understand that divided attention weakens both thinking and action. The mind is most effective when focused on a single task, and attempting to juggle too many things at once diminishes quality, slows progress, and increases mistakes. Stoics valued concentration and presence, recognizing that clarity arises from directing attention deliberately rather than scattering it across trivialities. In everyday life, distractions are everywhere. Notifications, emails, constant information, and social media pull attention away from meaningful work or reflection. Multitasking may feel productive, but it often leaves the mind fragmented and drained. Intelligent individuals prioritize their time and energy, focusing deeply on what matters, whether it is solving a problem, learning a skill, or engaging in a thoughtful conversation. By eliminating unnecessary distractions, they create space for insight, creativity, and strategic thinking. Historical thinkers and leaders often achieved greatness not because of doing more, but because they concentrated deeply on fewer things, mastering them with patience and precision. Cultivating single-minded focus allows intelligent people to act with purpose, complete tasks efficiently, and experience a sense of control and accomplishment that scattered effort can never provide. Over time, this discipline builds mental resilience, sharpness, and the ability to navigate complex situations with calm and clarity. Intelligent people avoid chasing fame or external recognition because they understand that true value lies in character and action, not in how others perceive them. Stoicism teaches that seeking approval is a trap, leaving the mind vulnerable to praise and criticism alike. When you act solely to be admired, your decisions become reactive, guided by the fleeting opinions of others rather than by reason or principle. History is full of figures who resisted this temptation, philosophers, scientists, and leaders who pursued understanding, virtue, or meaningful work, rather than applause. Conversely, those who prioritized recognition often compromised their integrity or lost focus on what truly mattered. In daily life, the desire for likes, accolades, or social status can subtly influence choices, diverting energy from purposeful action. Intelligent people recognize that external validation is unreliable and temporary, while internal standards provide lasting guidance. They focus on excellence, growth, and contribution, finding satisfaction in effort and improvement rather than in approval or fame. This mindset fosters resilience, independence, and clarity, allowing them to make decisions aligned with their values and long-term goals. By avoiding the pursuit of recognition, they free themselves from distraction, maintain self-respect, and cultivate a life rooted in substance rather than appearance. Intelligent people avoid procrastination because they understand that delaying action often magnifies problems and diminishes opportunities. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of living deliberately, taking responsibility for the present moment, and acting without unnecessary hesitation. Every task postponed creates a mental weight that saps focus and energy, while tasks completed promptly free the mind to pursue higher goals. Consider the small decisions we defer daily: emails left unanswered, ideas unpursued, or commitments postponed. Each delay may seem insignificant, yet collectively they erode productivity, confidence, and progress. Historical examples show that thinkers, leaders, and innovators achieved greatness not because they waited for perfect conditions, but because they acted decisively in the moment. Intelligent individuals cultivate discipline, breaking work into manageable steps and starting immediately, even when conditions are imperfect. They understand that action guided by reason is more valuable than endless planning or hesitation. By avoiding procrastination, they maintain momentum, build consistency, and reduce stress, transforming potential obstacles into stepping stones. Over time, this practice develops self-trust, efficiency, and a proactive mindset, allowing them to navigate life with purpose, achieve goals steadily, and respond to challenges without delay or regret. Intelligent people avoid over-attachment to outcomes because they understand that clinging too tightly creates suffering and limits flexibility. Stoic philosophy teaches that while effort is within our control, results often are not, and placing happiness or self-worth in the hands of chance is a trap. When we obsess over a particular outcome, whether a promotion, a relationship, or success in a project, we risk disappointment, frustration, and even poor decisions driven by fear or desperation. Historical examples abound. Generals, leaders, and thinkers who remained focused on action rather than outcome were often more effective, adapting to changing circumstances without losing composure. In everyday life, over-attachment manifests in stress, regret, or the inability to accept change. Intelligent individuals cultivate detachment by committing to effort and principle while releasing the need to control what cannot be controlled. This does not mean passivity or lack of ambition. It means aligning effort with reason, accepting that results are uncertain, and remaining calm regardless of what happens. By avoiding over-attachment, they preserve mental clarity, emotional stability, and the capacity to act decisively when opportunities arise. This mindset allows them to navigate life with resilience, maintain perspective amid uncertainty, and find contentment in purposeful action rather than the fleeting certainty of results. Intelligent people avoid surrounding themselves with negative influences because they understand that the company they keep shapes their thoughts, habits, and character. Stoicism teaches that while we cannot control others, we can choose whom to spend our time with, and that association with destructive or cynical individuals can subtly erode virtue and clarity. History provides clear examples. Thinkers, leaders, and innovators often sought companions who challenged them, inspired reflection, and upheld shared values, while those who indulged toxic relationships frequently became distracted, disheartened, or corrupted. In daily life, negative influences appear in gossip, constant complaining, laziness, or manipulative behavior. Even subtle patterns of pessimism or cynicism can infect thought, decision-making, and emotional well-being. Intelligent individuals are discerning in relationships, prioritizing those who encourage growth, integrity, and reasoned thought. They set boundaries, limit exposure to negativity, and cultivate environments that foster learning, resilience, and calm. By avoiding toxic influences, they protect mental clarity, reinforce virtuous habits, and create space for meaningful connections that nurture wisdom and purpose. Over time, this practice strengthens character, sharpens judgment, and allows them to navigate life with composure, confidence, and the steady guidance of reason. If you want to strengthen your mind and live with clarity, subscribe now to keep learning timeless wisdom.